The story of Stan Lee. Once upon a time, in the bustling city of New York, there was a boy named Stanley Martin Lieber. Born on December 28, 1922, Stan grew up in a tiny apartment with his parents and little brother, Larry. Times were tough for Stan's family. His father struggled to find steady work, and money was always tight. But Stan didn't let hard times dampen his spirit. Stan had a big imagination. He loved getting lost in books, especially adventure stories and tales about heroes. When he wasn't reading, he would watch thrilling movies and imagine himself as the brave hero saving the day. He dreamed of writing his own stories someday, stories that would inspire people and make them smile. Stan's childhood wasn't all fun and games. He helped out wherever he could, running errands for his parents and taking small jobs. But even when he was busy, he kept dreaming. He wanted to be a writer, a person who could create entire worlds with words. When Stan was a teenager, his love of stories led him to a lucky break. He got a job as an assistant at Timely Comics, a company that made comic books. It wasn't a glamorous job. Stan's tasks included fetching lunch, filling inkwells, and erasing pencil marks from the artist's drawings. But he didn't mind. He was thrilled just to be around the exciting world of comic books. One day, Stan got the chance to write his own story. He was overjoyed. But instead of using his real name, Stanley Lieber, he signed it Stan Lee. He thought it sounded catchy, and he wanted to save his real name for more serious writing. Little did he know, Stan Lee would one day become a name known around the world. Stan worked hard and soon began writing more stories for the comics. He was a quick learner and loved coming up with creative ideas. But it wasn't until years later that Stan's big imagination would change comic books forever. In the early 1960s, Stan had an idea that would transform the world of superheroes. At the time, most superheroes were perfect. They were strong, brave, and always knew the right thing to do. Stan wanted to create heroes who felt real, who had problems and struggles just like ordinary people. His first big idea was a team of heroes called the Fantastic Four. They were a family of superheroes who sometimes argued, made mistakes, and didn't always get along. But when danger struck, they worked together to save the day. People loved the Fantastic Four because they were relatable and fun. Stan didn't stop there. He worked with an artist named Jack Kirby to create even more heroes, including the Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man. But Stan's most famous creation was still to come. One day, Stan came up with an idea for a superhero who wasn't an adult, but a teenager. He created Peter Parker, a shy high school student who gets bitten by a radioactive spider and becomes Spider-Man. Peter wasn't a typical superhero. He had to deal with homework, bullies, and family responsibilities, all while saving the city from villains. He wasn't perfect. He made mistakes and sometimes doubted himself. But he always tried to do the right thing. Stan worked with an artist named Steve Ditko to bring Spider-Man to life. When Spider-Man's first comic was published, it became an instant hit. Readers loved Peter Parker because he felt like someone they could know, or even be. After Spider-Man, Stan's imagination kept going. He created the X-Men, a group of superheroes with special powers who wanted to live in peace with the world. He introduced Black Panther, the first black superhero in mainstream comics, and Doctor Strange, a magician who explored the mysteries of the universe. Stan didn't just create individual superheroes. He built a whole world where they could all live. He called it the Marvel Universe, a place where Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the X-Men could team up or even face off against each other. Readers loved this connected world, and Marvel Comics became one of the most popular comic book companies in history. As Marvel's stories grew in popularity, Stan dreamed of seeing his heroes come to life on the big screen. Over time, his dream came true. Movies like Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the Avengers became huge hits, and Marvel's superheroes became household names. Stan made sure to stay involved, even appearing in small, funny roles in many of the movies. Fans loved spotting him and hearing his famous catchphrase, "Excelsior," which means ever upward. Stan wasn't just a writer and creator. He was also a kind and funny man who loved meeting his fans. He believed that everyone could be a hero in their own way. Whether it was helping a friend, standing up for what's right, or being kind, Stan showed that heroism comes from the heart. Even as he grew older, Stan kept dreaming and creating. He wrote new stories, worked on movies, and inspired people all over the world. Stan Lee passed away on November 12, 2018, but his legacy lives on. The superheroes he created, Spider-Man, Iron Man, the X-Men, and so many others, continue to inspire kids and adults alike. Stan's stories taught us that heroes don't have to be perfect. They just have to try their best to make the world a better place. And so, the story of Stan Lee reminds us that with imagination, hard work, and a little kindness, anyone can be a hero. Excelsior!